Hi, I'm Dawn Westmoreland with 50 Shades of Purple Against Bullying. Hey, welcome back, or if it's your first time, welcome. Every Wednesday, I'm providing tips on workplace bullying, so I'm glad that you're watching, and I'd love to share a story with you today. So often, we are needing help, or we're asking for help, and we don't know where to turn. Well, let me share a story with you, because sometimes our gifts come in ugly wrapping paper. Here's my story. About 25 years ago, I was involved in a relationship with a man who was an alcoholic. And at the time, I was being fiercely bullied, and I was just a whole different person back then. I was very much the victim. I just didn't know any better, and that was just where I was at the time. So after a bunch of abuse, I finally reached out and I called Alcoholics Anonymous. And one of the folks there told me there was a meeting nearby, and I was living in North Florida at the time. So I proceeded to go to this Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. It was an open meeting, meaning that anybody could attend. And as I walked in, I saw these men that were laughing and giggling, and they were just so joyful, and it was just absolutely more than I could stand. It just made me miserable. All I could think about was how disrespectful. I need help and I'm desperate. So it was more than I could handle, and so I began to walk out of the room as fast as I could with the intent of getting out of that building, and I ended up in the broom closet instead. And as I'm standing in this big broom closet, you know, tears are just overcoming me. I'm standing there crying, feeling very much, you know, the abused victim. And I heard this voice in my head that says, Dawn, get in that meeting and get in there right now. And when I hear messages like that, I listen. I've learned to listen and trust my gut and my intuition. So anyway, I did go back into that meeting. I was really embarrassed, and I kept thinking that the men would laugh at me. No, not at all. In fact, they were even more warm toward me. What I did not know at the time, that many of these men had been in recovery 20, 30 years, and they were just happy. They were joyful about life, but I was the sick one. I was the one being abused and bullied. So anyway, after the meeting ended, one of the most scruffiest guys I have ever met in my life came up to me, and he said, Dawn, I want you to follow me, and I want you to meet my wife. And I thought, there's something about this man that I trust, so I'm going to do that. And he said, if you're not comfortable at any time, just drive off. So I proceeded to follow him, having this crazy idea and notion, because he was dressed in some of the raggediest clothes I'd ever seen, and he hadn't shaven probably in weeks, and he was a mess. And I kept thinking to myself, oh my goodness, where are we going? Where is he going to take me? Like the worst neighborhood, the worst neighborhood ever. Wow. You know where we ended up? He owned that multi-million-dollar mansion that I walked by every day when I was praying on the beach. I was praying for help, and I was praying for someone to help me to get out of an abusive relationship, because I didn't know where to turn. Yes, that scruffy man was a multi-millionaire. Sometimes our gifts come in ugly wrapping paper. Because of that union with that scruffy man, I was able to leave a very abusive relationship, and it was part of my journey of becoming happy and independent. So you never know where your help is going to come from when you ask for help. But do the right thing. Put it out there. Ask for help, and be willing and open to receiving what comes to you. And it might be just a little different than what you expect. This has been brought to you by 50 Shades of Purple Against Bullying. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Share this with your friends, and have an empowering week.